Yeah, Neil Ratner Rock Doc here with a story. All right, today is the 75th birthday of musician, composer, record producer, author, and auto racer Nick Mason, a founding member of the Pink Floyd, of course. And today I thought I would tell you a few things about Nick and the band you might not know. Now, as most of you are aware, my company, Circus Talents, was involved with the Dark Side of the Moon tour, and I'll end with a little personal story. All right. So, now, Nick bought his first drum set at a drum and percussion store in London called Foots. According to Nick, in 1958, he headed down to the West End of London to a basement in Denman Street, where a kindly man called Sid, in a white coat, maybe that's significant as well, sold me my original kit for £7.50, which, by the way, was only around $21 in 1958. When I heard, and then a few years later, the shop was having trouble, and Nick decided that he absolutely had to do something about it. So, according to Nick, when I heard the shop was to close because of problems with the bank, I felt it was such a shame to lose a place like that. I called the owners and said I'd consider putting some money in because I've always felt drum shops are lovely places. So that's quite nice. Nick helped save the drum store where he bought his first set of drums. And drum stores are probably few and far between these days, so you go, Nick. I'm glad you did that. Okay, now Nick, interestingly enough, never really took drum lessons, instead developing his own style, which he was very happy with, but often he felt less technically proficient than many of the other drummers around, but he got used to it. It was his style. He kept working on it, and we all know how great he fit into the sound of the Floyd. Now, one of those other drummers that really impressed Nick back in the day was Ginger Baker. According to Mason, prior to 1960, drummers for pop groups were on a riser at the back with someone good-looking at the front nodding along to the music. With Ginger, it suddenly became about a band and not just about a pop star, and that was enormously attractive to a lot of people. It challenged the idea that popular music was for teenage girls. For Cream, the reality was that the main audience were all guys in trench coats. I think to this day, honestly, if you go to a classic rock concert, you'll see a lot more guys than chicks. Don't know why, just the way it is. Okay, now, as we know, Mason has been the drummer on every Pink Floyd album, yet the only Pink Floyd songs whose composition is credited solely to Mason are the Grand Visor's Garden Party Parts 1 through 3 from Ummagumma and Speak to Me from the Dark Side of the Moon. And speaking about the Dark Side of the Moon, when Nick was asked if you were to present someone with an album which you felt encapsulated what you wanted to achieve as a musician, what would you choose? You know what he chose. His reply, I'd choose Dark Side. It's the most complete album. There's lots of others I like, but Dark Side has a lovely mix of everyone contributing to it. I think The Wall was a hell of a piece of work, but it's probably too long. What might have been nice to have Dark Side a little longer and The Wall a little shorter. It's got some great songs, and Roger's lyrics are extraordinary. The fact he was only 23 still amazes me. A question I get asked all the time is, why is Dark Side so successful? Apart from the marvelous Rototoms, which was obviously the main selling point, of course it was for me as a drummer, the truth is, Capitol Records decided to make this record work. We had total support from the label. All right, and talking about Dark Side, now I'll tell you a little story of mine about my association with Pink Floyd and Dark Side of the Moon, and I'm actually going to read you a little bit of my book, which will be released on Amazon tomorrow. And by the way, I'm going to continue to run my special on the website. NeilRatnerRockDoc.com. Far left, buy the book. I will autograph it any way you like, and I'll send it to you. And I'm going to run it for another couple of weeks. So if you want that autographed book, go order it. You can even do it from Canada and the UK. A little expensive on shipping. I'm not making anything, passing off the money. If you want an autographed book that way, do it. If not, go to Amazon. And when I do my little book tour, whenever that'll be, hopefully I'll come around and sign your book anyway. All right, now let me read a little. So, okay. My team joined Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon tour during a short segment in March of 1973, the same month that the album was released. I was in Europe with ELP, but Jim, my partner, was in the States and went out with them. After the tour finished, they came back to London. Peter and Arthur Max, Pink Floyd's lighting designer, had some new ideas they needed to work out before starting out again. While in London, the band was doing 2 gigs at Earl's Court. Peter invited me to a rehearsal. He was excited for me to see one of their new tricks. I couldn't believe my eyes. They had the balls to fly a relatively big model airplane on a guide wire from the back of the venue to the back of the stage, simulating the plane's destruction right above Nick Mason's head. It was great. The Dark Side of the Moon tour caused a real buzz in London, and everybody wanted a ticket, even other rock stars. Carl Palmer called and asked if I was going. I invited him to come with me. Peter by then had perfected his version of surround sound, and the band sounded better than any other band I ever heard. Aside from the airplane, there were cool pyrotechnics, 4 black backup singers, and a sax player. Carl and I left shaking our heads. Again, you want to read that and other stories, buy the book. All right. Happy 75th birthday, Nick Mason. And I hope you have many more. And we all love the music that you guys put together. Wish you could do it again, but hey, that's the way it is. All right, Neil Ratner Rock Doc. It's snowing out, but it's winter. What do you expect? At any rate, have a great rest of the weekend. Good week. I'll see you next weekend for more stories. My book goes live on Amazon tomorrow. You can get the ebook, and hopefully you'll be able to get the audiobook this week. Waiting for them to approve it. At any rate, have a great day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.